Hi, it's Cryptomaria. Just give me one little second. I'm just setting up still. And I gotta shut this off or I'm gonna. If I do it through my blog, I'm okay. Otherwise, I get a strike. So, sorry, I just wanted to finish that up. I hit the button too soon. So, we're gonna see the intro. Yay! If you're not familiar with me, I'm Cryptomaria. I'm an artist out of Victoria, BC, Canada. And I'm sorry for the delay. I was trying to curl my hair and this is as good as I got. My hair is just so fine. It will not curl. It's like no amount of hairs. Like I've been looking at videos okay, like gotta love the drag queens, any little hack to get your hair to curl and it's not working. I'm sorry, it just it falls flat. I don't know. I look like an elf. And speaking of which, let's just share the screen while I finish getting all my cords and tabs and everything ready, because today's vlog, I don't know about. Big shout out to everyone on X. I love you so much. And all of you on Twitch, you are the hardcores. And hi, YouTube. It's not like I don't love YouTube. I just, after losing a decade of my life, I kind of, it's hard. If you're feeling like you need a little bit of company, you met me at the perfect time. You want me, I want you, baby. I love this one. Don't make you wait. We're ready to get it. Yeah. I got you. I actually make the animations around my dancing. I know it, that's so nerdy, but I'm one of the greatest, ain't no debating on it. I'm still levitated, I'm heavily medicated. Ironic, I gave him love and they end up hating on me. She told me she loved me and she been waiting. If I hard for your love and I'm running thin on my patience. Need someone to hug, even took it back to the basics. You see what you got me out here doing? Might have threw me off, but can't nobody stop the movement. Let's go. Left foot, right foot, levitating. Pop stars, do a leap with the baby. I had to lace my shoes for all the blessings I was chasing. Never ever slip and fall into a better situation. So catch up, go put some cheese on it, get out and get your bread up. They always leave when you fall, but you run together. Weight of the world on my shoulders, I kept my head up. Now baby, stand up, cause girl, you want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. Don't look you way, we're renegading. Yeah. I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you, all night. Come next to me, I'm levitating. You, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you. I know that I'm still amazed. Like I'm working on a new animation. It actually helps me to see some of what I've done because you get so involved in a project, and I'm working on a new one, and it's just like I have other artwork and the music's not working because I need more music. I'm trying to do like the Carol of Bells. So let's see if I can find it. Just give me a second. I actually want to find this.
don't know which one won't give me a strike. Oh my god, it's so many choices. This is so bad. What the hell is that one? Okay. No. I gotta actually pull this up, and I think that tab I can get rid of because that petition. Oh no, thank God. No, I didn't get. Oh, thank God. I thought I shut off this tab. Holy, it's like I can watch my hair freaking melt in the humidity. Oh, I spent so long trying to curl it. Oh well. And I didn't want to. I'm reading an article about climate change, and I'm like, no, this is I'm in a rainforest. Of course, my hair is not going to hold up in with the hairspray. Oh my god, I shouldn't even complain. It could be snow. I love that video I did. Might put on one more. This one I didn't quite turn out the way I hoped. It's this gonna work? Oh yeah. Some of it just I tried, but it's cute. This took me so long. This took me like 3 weeks to do. It's like an old flip book. You know, where you draw something and then you flip the page. Then you draw something, you flip the page. That's my process. I love this. Just give me a second. I'm almost organized. I swear. I was happy then with the mindset. And if you turn to me like God thanks to win, I jump and ride trees and dive and dance like a king in the ice of the rest of our lives. You slang when you notice the stripes, the dirt in your pride. Hope it's right when you die. Old and bony, dawn breaks like a bolt through the heart. Never should have called, but my head's to the wall and I'm lonely. And if you turn to me like God takes the wind, I jump, like trees and guide, dance like the king of the ice, so the rest of our lives just get along. Godspeed, all the bakers are gone. They all couldn't done. Only into the buns, turning miles away. I'm looking in on a good life from mine. You'll never find without a trust, the flaming fields and two dogs to fly. And if you turn to me like I would dance like a queen of the ice, so the rest of our lives was better blind. Thank you. Sorry. It took me so long to make. And I'm really proud of it. I know a lot of people probably, and yeah, there is some things that can be improved on, like the audio, but it's like a dream come true to be able to do animations like that. And I'm gonna pull up my blog. Oh God, which one is it? Well, I'm gonna finish off yesterday's because I didn't go through it. I'm really proud of that one. And it just helps me because like I got so frustrated with everything I was working on today, and then I was working on homework and then more frustrated, and everything's gonna work out. What can you say? And then my hair doesn't, well, maybe not my hair. Obviously, it's just too humid for it doesn't matter how long I curl it or how long I leave it on or how much hairspray, it just goes. Yeah. See, this is the music. Okay, that's not even playing. This is like the music it does so much to work on the animation. It's going to be done for Orthodox Christmas. So imagine trying to do animation to this. I'm gonna get it though. It's actually turning out beautiful. It's like northern lights turning into a dress. It's beautiful. It's gonna work out so beautiful. But this is the music I'm using for my next animation, which is kind of a challenge because I'm using so many different versions and layering them over each other because it was meant to be kind of a round. So, like, if you loop this one and then loop it again, loop it, like just creating an echo within this song. And this is a beautiful version of it. The Carol of the Bells. And if you're Orthodox, you still have until January to. I mean, puppy's staying up probably until. It's probably not moving. I'm gonna leave it up the whole year. Like, sorry. I don't have space. So I'm gonna drag up my blog. Like, oh God. Oh boy. Do I even wanna like? Yeah. Do I even want to drag this one up? Oh. Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. All this and all the night, yeah, travel to every home. Ding dong, ding dong, that is the song. Ring, travel, ring, oh, caroling.
Right now is here. Thomas and Fox News contributor Miranda Devine. Miranda, great to see you. Good morning to you. Your reaction to all of this?
Good morning, Maria. Well, I think
Wow,
that James Biden, the brother of the president, is going to be
I
a
love
very
that
interesting,
version. I want to save it
let's
just
hope,
so I can like
witness for the
loop it
impeachment
into my
inquiry,
animation
probably
because I'm
early
trying to
next
get
year.
as
I know that
many
they've been
versions
negotiating with his lawyer,
of that song
Ken
in
Jans,
as
that
I can.
but
And
there's a lot he knows,
there's
and he's
been
under a lot
one
of pressure because, of course,
part
he's under
in
investigation
it that
from
I can't.
the federal government elsewhere.
There's a transition, so if I loop that one
money that
in,
he received,
it'll
there
like
are two questions
flow
about
better.
That. One is the $250,000
because that part
he
is
was
really
forgiven
loud
in
and
bankruptcy court. Did he ever pay tax on that? And the more important question is the 200,000 check that he cut for his brother on the very day
but
that
I mean,
that
like,
AmeriCorps
why?
money came into him.
I know this is American politics.
From
Canadian
the
politics is even more
retirees that were bilked.
dirty.
That money
More
to
dirty.
Joe Biden was written as a loan, but there needs to be some sort of evidence of that.
They don't
Yeah,
even care. They just launder money. It's like
Miranda. It's odd.
they might have. They're not the government. They might as well be a dry
payment
cleaner.
from China in the initial setup of a company so that they can have a.
Sorry,
partnership.
I gotta
It's hard
change
to
this.
believe
I
that
can
$5
only deal
million
so much of. Yeah, sorry. You can find the rest of that article on. I love that one. Oh, this was.
So you're actually saying that you believe that the indigenous people of Israel are actually the Jews, not the Palestinians?
I believe the Jews, it's their land. They were there before. They've had so many civilizations that have been there. The Jews have always been there. They never gave up their land. They were scattered around the world, but they never once gave up their land. They were turning for what is rightfully
Just
theirs.
to show a
And there are many
different
who've never left.
side of,
They are
and
God's
this
people,
is
to be
Rebel
honest. I know
News
for me and my
Australia.
husband, that is why we came together to see.
Obviously, Aria is kind of a.
The reason I'm standing for today is definitely for Israel. I guess I know I'm not from there, and I guess you can see that I'm cultured from New Zealand, but spiritual Israel to my heart, eh?
Are you meaning for Rebel News in King George Square
Everyone
in
is
Brisbane?
so like.
At this time, there was
I
supposed
do
to be
pull
a
up
pro-Hamas
an
rally
article
happening
in
right here, right
in
now.
my blog
A plot
today about
A local indigenous
vandalism
church
at a
heard about
local
it
theater
and decided to plan
at
their
the Belfry
own
Theater
pro-Israel haka.
because
the same
there's
place
a
an
play
hour
coming
earlier.
up
Somebody messaged me from New Zealand says the
about
pro-Palestinian marches
a
in Brisbane
Jewish
and here
soldier,
at 2
and
o'clock.
the theater
So I
got
said to Sam, I said, hey,
defaced.
you know what? These guys here can't just turn up and think they can take your city and your country over. I said we should plan a protest, but do it an hour before,
These
like I did in
kids
Auckland.
don't even know
And
what
he said,
they're
oh, no, these guys are
protesting.
pretty violent. And I said, well, let's see about that. And I said, well, bring some of my guys that are here for passes and we'll do a haka. Well, we put it up and did the advertisement. And the next thing we see, the same thing happened in New Zealand.
I
These guys
found
retreated.
another
They
video
booked
of
us,
this,
and the police were even actually saying, hey, hold on a moment, you guys got a right to be here. They said, no, we'll shift
why am
out
I
somewhere
so
else.
emotional
Why do you think
today?
the bullies
It's
that
like,
often come from the pro-Hamas rallies
oh
didn't
my
show
god,
up here today?
it's like
Pretty,
PMS or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you just have to be here. Our people are known as warriors, and I think they know that we're not a bunch of pushovers. You got some big boys here. They got colourful backgrounds.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, yes, they
they always kick our asses in
Christian
rugby.
believing, Jesus
It's
believing,
like Canada,
but they're not scared to go toe to toe either.
and then
I
New
think they know that.
Zealand.
You can't push us around.
Like
We have
if
warrior
we go
blood.
into see
We're
New
very hard
Zealand,
to
it's
take
like okay,
And when we
can
find a cause
we
that we
just
stand
sit
for,
on the sideline and not
don't get
have
in
you
our way.
kick our asses?
Simple
No,
as
we
that, and
actually
we'll
have to
protect
play
those
against New
that need
Zealand.
protecting.
Okay,
If we stand
no,
with
we
the
got
Jews,
this. We
fall
got
back.
this as rugby. We know
He's
we're going to come
smiling.
in fourth
You're scaring
anyways
me a
because
little bit.
we just don't want to be too broken.
Why do you have such a scary face?
Oh no, it's my own face.
Can I ask you something? There's only two places on the planet where the pro-Hamas supporters have either relocated or cancelled their event. It's here and in New Zealand. Why do you think that is?
I'm not actually too sure.
I think it's your scary face.
I don't know.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
And Ari
I believe
isn't
that we have
the
a greater
best
authority in us, man, and it's not physical.
reporter. Like,
I know
I am
I'm here with some
not,
grunty
like, the
looking
guy
brothers,
who's
to be honest,
doing the
though.
interviews,
But I
do
believe
not,
that there's something in us that
nobody's perfect.
is more
Let's just
powerful.
put
Like
it like
it's a
that,
God thing.
okay?
We don't come with anger. We don't come with rage.
No.
We came with peace.
Organisers of the pro-Hamas rally, they were calling for you to be deported for organising this. What's your reaction to that?
It's like, I'm not that important. Why deport me? I mean, I'm here, and I see
Yeah.
it's my not just a responsibility, it's my duty to actually stand for what's right. This is what this is about. What's right? What's happened to Israel?
This
is wrong.
conflict has
I'm a big
shaped
believer if we don't learn from history,
Christmas
it'll keep
this
repeating
year
itself and
more
repeating itself.
than I
And
ever
history showing that
imagined.
there's been a lot of things that always gone against Israel. And so I'm just doing my bit to stand for this fella. So hopefully one day he doesn't have to stand and do the same thing.
The narrative generally is that the indigenous people of Israel are the Palestinians.
And is that true?
I'm asking you.
I don't know why
Well, I'll say
they
from
can't all
the-
live
the- I say
together,
the
but
indigenous people,
that's
from what I
just
know
me as a
biblically,
little white girl
are
in
actually the Israel
Canada.
people.
Why do
You
you
know?
stand with Israel?
Well, basically, to break it down for everyone who's listening out there, I'm a man of God. Israel is the Holy Land. Christ died for our sins. He's my savior. That's why I stand.
Well, when you finally know the truth and you realize that it's not what the media is telling you, Israel was there way before Palestine. Once you learn that, you'll then realize and be set free.
Who are the indigenous people of
just-
Israel?
The Jews.
I'm pulling this up to
That's why
show
you stand
both
with it.
sides of the conflict
Definitely the Jews from the beginning. in
because
Genesis 1
so
verse 1.
much of our
Hey, we
media
can-
is focused
Their book, the
on
Bible, there's too much truth in it to ignore it. And for people over here, like in Australia and westernized countries, their stories, they're fairy tales. But to us, they're the truth. It's like saying that my grandfather lived and my grandfather was a part of that book, and I see Christ as my brother. So, yeah, it's all real blood and bone for me.
Why are you standing for the Jews in Israel when the Palestinians, the narrative we get is the Palestinians are the indigenous people of that land?
Well, I know my history. They're not indigenous to that place. My history goes way back before many other civilizations were there. And the Jews have always been there. It's the land that was promised to them by God. It's their origins. So it's our origins.
I
So,
think
you know,
the
this is stand for
Palestinians
Israel.
were there as
But it's a peaceful
well.
stand,
Like,
because
let's
it's my
be
stand for
clear.
my
Like,
faith, my
you
children,
can't
my
deport.
generations. It all goes back to
And
them. That's what's that important to
saying
me.
they
Israel
were
are not-
nomadic,
they're not
and
occupying something they
yeah,
don't own. They are
parts
owners.
were,
They're
but
indigenous people.
my
of all the
friends,
sand
their
and the land
families
and
went
everywhere
back
around in the Middle
hundreds
East,
of years.
and they own all
That's
the
like
resources in it.
asking
So I say to
me,
Israel, get the lot.
like my friends
It's
in
yours.
Gaza,
By
it would be
promise,
like
by mandate
asking them
from Abraham,
to, oh,
Isaac, Jacob, Israel.
your
I mean,
family
it's
goes
yours.
back 400
Take it.
years,
Who do you
but
believe the
you're not
indigenous people of that land
actually
is?
from here,
Israel.
so you have to
Israel.
leave. Bye-bye.
Jews.
Yeah, the Jews, definitely.
And a
Is that
lot
why
of
you
them
stand for
died.
them?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think everything that's happening over there and that's happened in the past.
I do not want
has been
any
just
hate
crazy.
about this conflict because I lost good friends. But at the same time, you know,
What's your message
it's
to people that
war
ask
is
around the world
war
to
is
do what you did
war,
today?
and we'll figure it out
To be
at
honest,
the end.
you have to draw the line in the sand, and you have to stand and know that the stand we make today, it impacts the future generations, our children, our grandchildren. So my encouragement for you would be to think of them, think of what's going to happen tomorrow and the days to come. If we don't stand now, then look at what's going to happen. We've already seen what's
Yeah.
happened. So my encouragement is to rise up. Don't be afraid. Stand strong. Stand together. And the more of us that open our mouths and speak, you'll see our communities rise together.
Yeah.
What would you say to Jews around the world who just watch that now? What would your message be to them?
I think just stand strong, and trust God. He's gonna get you out of it, but through it, He's gonna lead you through it. Yeah.
The haka has a very deep meaning of battle. It's a war dance.
It
that
is.
war does
And
often put fear in the enemy.
my next
and
clip, hopefully I don't
encouraging
get a
the actual
strike for it,
warriors.
but it
So what
is
this haka has done, it's been
such a
revived,
beautiful
is
video.
it's put the fear and the dread
And
of us into the enemy's heart.
It really hit. Wow, I'm so emotional today. Oh my goodness.
Whether the haka strikes fear in the enemy or empowers Jews and supporters of Israel around the world, what we can say is these men are standing and sending a message to everybody that stands for what is right now at this most important time in history.
Yeah, if it was anyone else doing this report, I wouldn't shut it off so quick, but this one is beautiful. And hopefully I don't get a strike for this, but this is...
Oi. Just talking to the captain about you lot. What'd you say?
This reminds me of my grandpa.
You said you all look like you just walked out of the bush.
Straight out of the bush? So what did you say?
I said, I couldn't agree more. We were so eager to get to these trenches based on the beautiful scenery and lovely meals provided that we couldn't resist but walked straight out of the bush.
I know. It's like, yeah, let's... yeah, my grandpa is in Amsterdam. And
we're moving over here.
So this
Didn't
is...
even have a chance to say goodbye to
He
his
actually went through several Christmases like this.
Not like your mother.
It's like, okay, next day we'll kill each other, but for now we'll have a moment and
Well, speaking of mothers,
take a moment and just like hang out and be friends. And tomorrow we'll kill each other. This is great.
To my darling Rudimu. That's me. Here's a little something from home. We hope it arrives to you in time for the special day. Special day.
Oh, you got the cookies. That would have been like gold then. Like... Not just cookies, but made with love.
What do you think they're singing about? Sounds like a lullaby.
yeah, like the ones your mother used to sing you, eh?
Kinda.
My mother used to sing me a lullaby.
Just...
Merry Christmas! Merry
Christmas!
Merry Christmas, sir. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas!
Get down! I get shot again.
Sorry, sir. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas to you!
Merry Christmas. I know about you boys, you Kiwis. Where I'm from, we have presents on Christmas Day.
Yeah, no. They'll think we're trying to poison them. Let's give them something decent. Oh, come on, boys. It's Christmas.
This is amazing how they filmed this with the drone footage, like, because you can actually see the trench lines.
Sir,
And
think that
this
just threw
is
something.
brilliant
Careful, eh? Might be a trap.
cinematography. I
Don't
cannot
worry, sir.
believe
I've got good eyes.
how, like, scenes like this, and you see it during.
Jeez.
It's an angle of war you would never. And
Take a
knowing my family went through this.
That's enough, sir.
Merry Christmas.
Take this.
Fröhliche Weihnachten.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Ines Savinus? I'm totally butchering that.
1
I'm
hour.
horrible at German.
1 hour.
1 hour. This is amazing cinematography, how they filmed this. Because this wasn't CGI. They actually filmed this in real life with drones and then did a filter over it to get that old war. Like, this is amazing movie. And this is what would happen. It's like my grandpa. Whoa. My grandpa, he never talked about the war. But one story he did tell, like one Christmas, they're all in the bar, kind of like in Glorious Bastards, and then they all realize, even though it's Christmas, they're on opposite sides, and they're going to have to fight each other the next day. Wonderful, eh? You know, and he never talked about the war, but that was one story he told. I think because it hits us so hard, you know, the holidays and everything. And also, if
your name's Hindi. Congratulations. My wife, she is Helga. Helga.
he realized the enemy is, they have wives and kids, and they don't even want to be there. They'd rather be with their families.
Ja, okay.
Ja, Jungs, wir können ein bisschen Fußball spielen.
Football. You want to play football?
Yes. Football.
Well, gentlemen, what do you say?
And this
We
is
show them how it's
hilarious as a Canadian because the Kiwis always kick her ass at rugby.
I doubt they've even heard of it.
No, they haven't heard of rugby, but
Listen to what Jason German said.
you do not. New Zealand, like, you might as well just give them the cup. Like, it's New Zealand, like.
Füße.
Ja.
Yeah, try to football versus rugby. That's a very big difference.
Okay, no. Okay, gentlemen, 1 moment with me. Listen, men, football's perfectly simple. All you have to do is kick the ball. And in the interests of maintaining a peaceful encounter, I think we should agree to play football. What do you say?
Okay.
Okay, how about this then, sir? Since we have to compromise by playing football instead of rugby,
Yeah.
how about we get to perform a haka?
No,
Because rugby
absolutely
is
not.
actually
I think it's
a
bloody
pretty
act of war.
awesome sport.
I've seen the Maori do a ceremony in Britain.
We didn't
Then they
have
thought they were gonna invade the
football
country.
or soccer
Sir,
in my
it's our
high school.
custom.
We
No,
had
absolutely
rugby,
not.
and
I
it
cannot
was
allow it.
awesome.
Hei pā mau tō mātai whenua. Kei pā mau mātai whānau. Ka mutu ko kore rawa mātai wiki tōria te ke mune. Hei taku rangatira tēnā tukua, kia puritia tonitia tātātai mana motu ake.
In English?
In English.
We are a long way from our home. We are a long way from our people. And we are going to lose this game. So please, at least let us retain our pride.
Absolutely, sirs.
The men have agreed to play football. But first, they would like to perform a haka.
Ein was?
A haka.
Haka.
Yes, it's a kind of dance.
Dance. Dance.
Dance? Ein Tanz?
Tanzen.
Tanzen? Leute, Sie sollen vor uns tanzen. Sie sollen vor uns tanzen.
Ja. Tanzen.
What are they laughing at? Your face, your boots.
Yep. I love this.
Okay, hula.
I had friends. I had a friend from the Polynesian. Oh God, where the hell was she from? But she would do this in theater class, and this was this like tiny little broad, tiny little white broad, and she would do this, and it would be like,
It's all right.
okay, yes,
All right.
ma'am, yeah, whatever you say, yeah, whatever you. This is so cool. I love shots like this where you can see the drone footage over the battlefield or over, no man's land. And seeing this. This was I love the kickback. I love the kickback. Oh yeah. Oh no, you want us to play with our feet? Oh well, we'll show you. Oh yeah. We're gonna lose, but we will make you earn it. Imagine if all wars were fought over like your best recipes or our sporting events instead of bombs or guns. This was such a beautiful video. I found it and I had to share it. Stories like this need to be told.
Creed and race gather here before thy face, asking thee to bless this place. God defend our free land from dissension, envy, hate, and corruption. God, our state, make our country good and great. God defend New Zealand.
Oh my God, that was so sweet. I love that one. Oh my God. Yeah. During the Christmas truce, a British soldier was asked why he was crying. I'm not crying because... Sorry. Ironically, I'm not crying because of how beautiful it is. I'm crying because tomorrow it will be like none of this happened and we'll be back to killing each other. And so apparently some people in Canada get a special workers benefit. I do not qualify. I made too much last year. It's almost like, should I not make money? And
Merry Christmas. For Christians, Christmas
I'm
is a
going
time
through
to
this
celebrate
one
the birth
and then
of Jesus
I'm
Christ and the promise of peace
going
on earth
onto
and goodwill
today's
towards
stream.
men. For all Canadians, Christians and non-Christians alike, it's a time to come together with
I'm
family,
probably
friends,
doing a
and neighbors.
steak. I think if I
to
get
give
some
thanks
like
for the year that was
protein
and the one
into
to
me
come.
on
But
actual
as we
food,
enjoy a
I'll be
moment
okay.
of light in the long Canadian winter, I'd particularly like to thank those for whom Christmas is yet another workday, and often a difficult one. The nurses, doctors, and first responders who are on call every day, even holidays. The small business owners who are there to provide whatever it takes to get us through the pre-Christmas rush. The tradespeople who will be one call away from saving us from a last-minute renovation disaster. And the men and women of the Canadian Armed Forces who stand on guard 365 days a year, often faraway families on special days like this, and whose families make extraordinary sacrifices to keep us all safe. The Gospel of Luke tells us that the first people to learn of Jesus' birth on that first Christmas, all those years ago, were also working that day. It says that, and I quote, "There were in the same country shepherds abiding in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night." How extraordinary to think that the greatest news of the Christian faith was delivered first not to the rich and powerful, but to the most humble, who just happened to be working nearby on that cold night. But it is in keeping with the whole nativity, which is extraordinary for how ordinary it is, a king who is greater than all kings, born in a manger, surrounded by cattle and greeted by shepherds. It is a story that upends all expectations and reminds us that Christmas has a message of hope and fulfillment and a promise for all of us equally. For my family, Anna, Valentina, and Cruz, I very much wish you a wonderful Christmas and much happiness in the new year.
This next one is so bizarre. I really, like, you can't make this shit up.
Now let's start with local news and some Christmas news here. Council in Melbourne, Stonington Council, this is just pathetic antics from them. Look at their Christmas posters. Devoid of any mention of Christmas, make merry. What does that even mean? And let's have a look at how some residents improved these posters by crossing out the make and writing in Christmas under Merry. There we go. That's much better, isn't it? So if the council's not happy, they've said that they're disappointed by the vandalism and the decorations are all about being inclusive.
Well, let's be clear, okay?
Like, seriously, coming from a minority family, someone who's not Christian, they are not doing this on behalf of minorities. They're doing it on behalf of some lefty losing it. Let's be honest here.
Oh, Rachel, look, I'd love to be down into
I love what she says right there.
Liquid paper
right
going
there.
and writing Christmas
Truth
over
right
these
there.
signs. But this is
It
just when
isn't-
things are taken too far. You're right. It's bowing to a
It
minority.
is some
trying to
entitled
please
little
everyone,
twit
but
that
in the end,
is
offending a
getting
lot of people.
overpaid
Why
for
can't we just
their
say Merry Christmas and enjoy the
entitlement.
festive season? And for those who don't celebrate it, that is okay too.
Yeah,
That's
but these
completely
little,
okay, but
like,
those
the people who
your
are,
ethnic minorities,
you
aren't
know,
the ones who are
complaining about
affected by
Christmas
Merry
would probably
Christmas.
be
I
the
can tell you
first
there's some
ones
green-haired freak who was
disappointed their
born and bred
parents
here
didn't give
and
them
probably went to some
anything.
private school. Let's
Like,
move on
that's-
to a shocking story. I hate to be
Let's be
encouraging this story,
realistic.
but
You
it's gone
see the
viral.
level
This
of
is a story from
entitlement
Perth, but
just
people around
going
the
on.
world
I
are now
pull it up
talking
all the
about it
time on
because
my stream.
of the video clip that's been released of this
This one was
dog owner, this
horrible.
woman who throws her tiny
I
Maltese
couldn't
Shih Tzu
bro.
off
No,
a
this
two-story
one hurt
shopping
me.
centre car park. The
No,
poor dog,
this one
well,
hurt
it did
me.
survive the fall, but it had to be put
No.
down later because of
I'm
its
sorry. I
injuries.
should have gave a
In a
trigger
now
warning
deleted
before this.
Facebook
No,
post, the
no.
woman said she did the dog a favour because, and I quote, "all I did was hurt her and abuse her." I mean,
Oh
it's
my
just a gross story. So if
lord.
you've
Like,
got
what is wrong with
a lot of people again
people?
commenting around
I
the
would
world
have taken that little
saying
dog
the
and
sentence
that's
is manifestly
so,
inadequate.
it's
She got
so
12
evil.
months in
Like,
prison. The judge said that it was a planned, deliberate, and intentional
yeah.
act. I'm not one to normally defend the judiciary, but I will here
Oh
because
my
it is
god.
very
Like,
rare
you don't,
for
like, who can
animal
do
abuse
that?
cases to end in
And
any
then
sort of a prison
actually
term. So the
say,
fact that she'll
like,
be spending
well, I
around
was
12
saving
months
the
behind
dog
bars, I
because
think
I
is
kept
actually a lot
abusing
better
it.
than a
And,
lot
like,
of people would have
are
expected.
you
Hopefully it's
kidding
a
me?
strong
Like,
message.
are
Rachel,
you
there's
like
something
some far,
completely unhinged and
like,
very sick about that. When I was reading this story, you can't help but your
I
stomach
hope
just
they
curls
throw the
over.
book
It's
at
such a
her
horrid
because, oh
story,
my
but there's
god,
something
like,
obviously
I forgot
incredibly
about this
wrong
one.
for that woman to do something to such a innocent little pooch.
Just
I love her
as,
own dog.
like,
I love
oh
dogs,
my
and I just feel
god.
any person who loves animals
No,
cannot feel
you
anything
don't.
but utter sickness from this.
Oh my
It's just
goodness.
I've written about this a lot, the connection between those who engage in animal
Yeah.
cruelty and those who go on to
Like,
commit horrendous
you wouldn't
acts
throw
against
your
humans
kid
as
off
well.
the.
The relationship there is quite established.
Oh,
But let's
that's
move
so
on
sad.
to
And the poor
this
little
is one
dog,
of your
like,
stories that's gone
who
crazy.
didn't do
I
anything.
somehow missed this.
This is so
Because it was on
awful.
SBS. That's probably why I missed it, because you know who's watching.
I
But
know
they've
it's
had
sad,
to issue an
but
apology
it
as one of
just.
our taxpayer-funded broadcasters. They've issued this apology to Warren Mundine because of a exchange that happened with Marsha Langton, but it's not the exchange with Marsha Langton
That
in
poor
particular
little
that is the
dog.
issue. It's the SBS host's role in that. The SBS ombudsman found that during the exchange, host Narelda Jacobs had unduly favoured, Professor Langton. Well, let's
No
have a
idea
look and
what
you make
this
up your
is.
own mind.
Aussie stuff.
Fixing the problems that we have in
Just going to
Aboriginal
interrupt you there
communities.
because
I'm not going to sit here and cop lies from
well, we're not
people.
going to sit here
We are
and
going
take
to
you abusing
move forward as
a national
nation.
treasure like Marcia
And
Langton, who
Australian
never said
people
that
have
Australians were
spoken,
racist.
And you must accept
And her words were twisted. I'm going to stop you there, Warren.
People make the decisions.
I think, well, we've just seen who Warren Mundine is.
Yes, that's right. That is extraordinary. So she was supposed to be hosting that, not
Yeah.
participating in the debate, but she seemed to be very much a participant.
Yeah.
Rita, this is Narelda Jacobs, who is an Indigenous woman. I thought she was on Channel 10. And she's on Channel 10 too, and declares that
God.
she's not an activist. However, she was
Well, now she is.
vote for the voice referendum on referendum day. She said she supported the Uluru Statement. This is nothing short of disgraceful. I was actually watching this exchange live on the night of the voice referendum count. Could not believe what I was seeing. Spoke to the SBS the next day, and they were left scrambling after getting 8 complaints about this, taking 2 months to investigate it. Now, Rita, I will point out they don't make these findings public. It was only that I was handed the findings by someone else about this, which is shocking. And Narelda Jacobs has not said a word about her conduct, nor has she apologised, as far as I know, to Warren Mundine, nor has she been disciplined. That is astonishing that anyone would talk to Warren Mundine in that fashion, but then to behave like that and say, I'm not an activist, I'm just an impartial news presenter completely down the line. Please stop insulting your audience. If you're going to engage in opinion, then label it accordingly. The audience isn't that stupid. And Sophie, you've just broken a story. As we speak, it's going up live on the website. That other taxpayer-funded broadcaster, the ABC, that gets over $1 billion of our money every year, they've got a saga unfolding right now. They have. You can read about this on the Australian's website, Rita. So a Palestinian journalist for the ABC has put together a video talking about the BDS, the boycott program, where you boycott Israeli products. She's talked about this program, why it's so popular. She's offered no dissenting voices in the clip.
There's better
and
countries
she's just talked about someone who was
boycott.
boycotting Israeli
Like-
products, but offered no counter argument to this. And what has happened is the ABC have removed the video, but they're yet to respond to why they have removed the video.
Boycott,
But this is again
sanctions
another
won't
issue
work.
for the ABC.
It's
and its
retarded.
conduct
I'm
over the
sorry
Israel-Gaza
to insult.
conflict.
Use that
Well,
term.
this is what happens when you've got activists masquerading as journalists.
Yeah,
it
I know,
it just happens over and over again. And if they just balance the ledger a little bit, I could perhaps forgive it, because they are a public broadcaster. They operate from our taxpayer dollars, so they have got
Yeah,
a
that's the
obligation,
problem
a
with
legal
that.
obligation to be balanced, but it's all one-way traffic. Exactly. And they just deny it. They're living in delusion. Now, let's go to the international stories, because this is incredible stuff. The big news out of the US, Donald Trump being disqualified from the 2024 ballot by the Colorado Supreme Court. The former president's disqualification is related to the January 6th Capitol Hill riot. The court released a statement following the ruling on this decision, saying, "We did not reach these conclusions lightly. We are mindful of the magnitude and weight of the questions now before us." Now, Trump has labelled the decision completely flawed. That's putting it lightly. This is Banana Republic territory, Sophie. This is just disturbing on a whole new level. I don't think it's going to stick, but it doesn't matter. You've got these Democrat-appointed activist judges who want to disqualify the front runner from the presidential election. It seems like every time a new poll comes out showing Trump doing even better, they come up with new ways to try to corrupt the process, to interfere with the process. Well, Rita, doesn't this show that they will stop at nothing to try and stop Donald Trump from running? That is what is obvious here. Yeah. But I was listening to some commentary about this, which I thought was quite true. If people are going to vote for Trump or not for Trump, if he is to run, then let them vote him in or out. Let the public decide.
Well, that's the problem. They don't want the public to
Exactly.
decide.
But let the voters let it vote. That's why we have a democracy. Clearly, they don't want that to happen because they're worried he may be elected.
Well, absolutely. If he was trailing in the polls, none of this would be happening. I am absolutely confident of that. We wouldn't be having all these ridiculous indictments. We wouldn't be having efforts to put him in prison, to remove his name from the ballot. So I think El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, put it best. He took to X and he posted, "The United States has lost its ability to lecture any other country about democracy." Absolutely right. If this was happening in some little nation, I don't know, in South America or Africa or Asia, anywhere, we would be condemning them. We would be absolutely condemning them, but it's happening in the United States of America, and California is now considering barring Trump from its primary ballot over 14th Amendment concerns. In a letter to California Secretary of State Shirley Weber, Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounakakis wrote, "Based on the Colorado Supreme Court's ruling, I urge you to explore every legal option to remove former President Donald Trump from California's 2024 presidential primary ballot." Incredible. Meanwhile, the latest New York Times Siena College poll that was released in the last 48 hours shows Donald Trump is leading President Biden among young voters. This is extraordinary. This is for the first time. We're talking about voters under 30 here, and Trump is leading 49% to 43%, Sophie. If this poll is accurate, it would be sending shockwaves through the Democrats, because that is one demographic that they just count on, the young voters voting Democrat.
Look, Rita, I'm always sceptical of polls, I must say that, because we've seen in the past they have been wrong. But you're damn right. If this is accurate, there would be a lot of people who are incredibly worried that
Well,
Trump
the Democrats
will be
aren't
voted back in, and I
speaking
think that
for
terrifies
free
them.
speech.
So this is why it
They
goes back
aren't.
to your initial point. They're doing
The
everything
Democrats
they can
are,
to stop him from being
and
able to
please do not
Absolutely.
shoot the
Now,
messenger,
iconic
but
American actor,
they are
comic Jerry
not.
Seinfeld has visited Israel in a show of solidarity with the country's
It's
fight
cancel
against
culture
Hamas and the
versus
rising
free speech. Think
anti-Semitism
about
around
it.
the world. The Jewish American star landed in Israel on Monday with his wife and children, meeting families of Israeli hostages still held in Gaza, as well as some recently released hostages. And it did not take long. Like clockwork, the loonies on the left are vowing to disrupt his programs.
Like, oh
including
my
his
God,
upcoming
just let the
tour
guy, like-
here in Australia. There's all sorts of Twitter X activity about this, Sophie. Do you think they're going to follow through with this? I mean, he is an iconic comic, much loved, very much a mainstream comic, is hardly sort of risque. Are they going to protest and scream at people, probably middle-aged people, trying to attend his shows?
Look, nothing would surprise me.
I know.
This
It's
world
like
of
all us
activism,
smokies.
Rita, but you're right. Like Jerry Seinfeld is not really.
He's very vanilla. I mean,
he's
come
very
on.
vanilla. He's not an offensive character. So let's wait and see. But I wouldn't be surprised, Rita, going on, how these activists do operate.
And like it's
Now,
Kramer.
the mother of hostage,
Let's be
Nana
honest,
Levy,
but
has
also
launched
this
a
is the reality
desperate
of
plea to have her
what
daughter
happens
released by
during a
Hamas.
conflict.
She told
This is what
CNN
happens.
that her time is running out.
My voice may be soft when I speak right now, but the scream is inside me, and I don't hear the voices of the world loud enough responding to the scream. My daughter has been kidnapped by Hamas. Can you even begin to imagine that?
It's just heartbreaking, and that footage. I think it's
like there's
burnt
so
into the
many
memories
protests.
of so many people. That's one of
So
the first bits
I'm
of footage we
showing
saw
the
out
other
of
side,
October
and if I
7,
get
and you
hate
just
for it,
wonder, what
whatever.
happened to that girl? What has she suffered? Is she still
Because
alive?
in a conflict like this,
Done so
that
much,
has nothing to do with
people's,
Canada.
emotions who don't even know her. You can hardly fathom.
And
how their mothers
I
feel.
have friends whose families are on both sides.
Situation for her
Yes,
mother.
I do feel
And you're
I
right,
can
just one of those situations. Even when
bring
you're not
into
connected
this,
to it
and
personally, it's
also
so
just to
heartbreaking
show
and shattering. And
some
we've
of
seen
these
so many
kids who
stories like
are
this come out of what's going on in Israel.
you know,
So
they're
truly shocking.
Now,
they're
Israel is
protesting
urging
something
the
they don't
International Committee of the
understand.
Red Cross to pressure Hamas to ensure access to the hostages still under their control. Their response, the Red Cross response, is it won't work. Have a look.
You have every avenue, every right, and every expectation to place public pressure on Hamas.
It's not going to work because if the more public pressure we seemingly would do, the more they would shut the door.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Yes, they would. They would.
Well, why don't you try?
I think that does seem to be very frustrating, a very frustrating approach that it's not going to be.
It's not going to work.
Well, why wouldn't
It's
you
not
try?
gonna
Why
work.
wouldn't you try everything just to ensure the hostages are alive, they've been taken care of, that you've got some vital information for their families?
Of course, Rita. I do note that obviously it is a very tricky situation. You just can't go, in like a bullet a gate. But wouldn't you try, and
Well, I know that clip has caused all sorts of unrest in Israel. There's a lot of people who are just really unhappy. Perhaps the way it was expressed wasn't the best way it could have been expressed. But if there's a further explanation, then, we'd like to hear it. Now, let's go to Joe Biden, his disaster at the border, where a record 12,600 migrants were encountered by Customs and Border Protection officers in 24 hours. And that's just the ones who were encountered. Thousands of migrants are crossing illegally at the Rio Grande River at the US-Mexico border. The numbers waiting to be processed are exploding. The backlog for immigration
And they are
hearings
from all
is now
over
past
the world.
3 million.
All
That New
over
York
the
Post
world.
cover
Like,
is
these
from
are.
today,
I
and
tried to
I'll
curl
tell
my
you
hair
that
again,
front
but
page
it's not
speaks
working.
volumes. It's
But
surrender. They're not even
they're from
trying
all over.
to address
It's
this
not
problem, and
South
it is
America.
a crisis,
It's
a rolling
an open
crisis that's
border.
been happening now throughout
This is
the
an
Biden
open border.
presidency.
It's scary.
He has set
This shouldn't
records
be
every
happening.
year of his presidency for illegal immigration.
this is a real problem, Rita, and I think that's why perhaps even Biden voters will look back to someone like Donald Trump, who's tough on this and has a tough stance, because it appears that Biden has been completely asleep at the wheel.
Oh, well, when he came to the presidency, when he was campaigning, he rolled out the welcome mat. He said, come, and not surprisingly, they came. When you've got pull factors, you're going to have those sorts of issues. Now, finally, let's end on a happy note, because I know how much you love Meghan Markle. So I found this story where she's made a comeback to acting, people. Yes, she's appeared as an extra in an Instagram ad for a coffee brand she's invested in. Let's have a look at the ad.
This is so
I want to give a
weird.
huge shout out to our amazing, clever team here at HQ. Without them, we are nothing. Off with them and crew, lovingly packing your lattes. They've been listening to Britney on loop since 2000.
Like, I'm no poster child for sanity, but she is. This is weird. This is really weird.
The glue that literally holds us all together. Our incredible, resilient fulfillment team that have helped make 2023 such a big success.
Okie
What do
dokie. What do you even say to that?
Reaction, mostly poor. I know what they were trying to do there.
I know, nobody knows what they were trying to do. That's disturbing.
She made Prince Harry leave the royal family for that.
Look, I say this shows where her financial situation is, that she's now having to go on TikToks or social media posts for her business or ads. Her career has definitely taken a dive. But I will say this, to finish on a positive note, at least she's not attacking the royal family.
Well, not in that ad, because she doesn't get to speak. Maybe if she got to speak, she would have. But you would think if things were going well, the fact that her name is attached to a particular brand, people know she owns it or has some sort of investment in it, it would go gangbusters. But no, she's got
It's actually going to go the other way.
to actually push the brand. Sophie Ellsworth, always a pleasure. We'll see you again in 2024.
Yay, that was a good clip. Sometimes I get a lucky one. Oh, I don't know if I want to pull that up. I think we've all been watching the news. Horrific Christmas massacre as Israel pounds Gaza. Like I said, I pull up both sides of this. Aww. They are a wonderful couple.
Merry Christmas to you guys. Good morning.
He has such a good
I hope you're in
channel.
good spirits. I hope you are spending time with
He
family,
really does. Like,
presents and camaraderie and fellowship and stuff like that. It's
and
great.
he's been reporting on just sort of the migrant crisis.
A lot of people.
And I do say migrant crisis because,
The birth of Jesus.
aww. So cute, matching PJs.
So, Christmas. Celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. So, from my family to you. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Merry Christmas!
Thanks, guys. Love you. Thanks for being here to support us. And remember the focus of Christmas. Birth of Jesus Christ. Love y'all.
He knew it. Oh my God, what a spread. I want to go to their house for Christmas. Oh my goodness. Aww. I really hope they had a wonderful holiday. Like, it's so sweet what they did. Like I pulled up so many clips. Like, I missed some of these good ones. Like, this would have been so wonderful yesterday. See, I appreciate he has them very properly braced up. So even though they're inflated, they're not going to blow away. That is Merry Christmas. Aw, Merry Christmas. This was actually a very good Christmas. Even though I didn't get to see my family, but this is nuts. Like, I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is someone's yard. This is like impressive. It's a small world after all. Like, holy shit, this is so many. Like, holy crap, where does he even put them all? Oh. Well done. This is beautiful.
Should we go look at all the stuff?
This is amazing. This is really amazing. Aww. This is amazing. I love seeing like big displays like this. Like, I'm sure it drives. This is amazing. I think for a lot of people, Christmas or Halloween is their only chances to really display their creativity. Oh, this is sad.
So many closed stores, and there's about to be a lot more.
This is like Victoria.
unfortunately. Shopping under lock
Like
and key may be
Victoria.
the new reality as thieves get away with stealing goods over and over again from stores like CVS.
The issue having a major impact on pharmacies, many of whom are just choosing to close up shop.
Rite Aid recently closed a location in Hell's Kitchen after more than $200,000 of product was stolen over 2 months.
So far this year, there have been more than 20,000 cases of shoplifting reported.
This is something that is very correctable, but no one is moving to correct it.
So 1 month ago, the first Target to ever open in New York City closed because of theft. And now Rite Aid is closing 26 stores in New York. And so are Walgreens and CVS. They're closing stores too. And that's because shoplifting in the city is up 64% from 2019. And it's a big problem for the city. One of the great things about New York is how convenient it is. But if everything is closed, it's not very convenient. And the rent's still obnoxious.
Even security guards who try to intervene and stop criminals like this one in New York
This
City
is
are
scary
getting
because
arrested
then all of a sudden,
themselves.
where do you
This
find
is an
your
epidemic,
medication?
and it's forcing the mayor to roll out his second retail
This is
task force to address
very,
this issue
very
this
scary
year.
for
And that's because
anyone
since
in New
2020,
York.
shoplifting here has risen faster than in any other major American city. Now, earlier this year, the mayor did lead an effort to combat shoplifting, and it was moderately successful. Shoplifting was down for the first half of 2023, but now we're on task force number 2, and that's because things are regressing and getting worse.
Can I reveal something that was said during the break? Somebody was said it's not their fault, Walgreens. It is Walgreens' fault. They have built this into their business. They take out insurance policies and they say that we're going to do a write-off for this much inventory. They allow this to happen. They also have policies in their companies that say you cannot stop shoplifters, and shoplifters know that.
Now, this here was a Walgreens. It's been closed for a little while, but it's an interesting point to accuse the retailers themselves of being complicit in shoplifting. Now, that's not to say that retailers are in favor of shoplifting. I mean, they open a store like this. This one was actually renovated right before it closed. It had a redone interior, and there were 2 levels. You can see those escalators in the back. It was a big store, and you know what? Nobody is interested in releasing this thing. And across the street from this, we have a new Target, but this location was a former Food Emporium grocery store, which also closed recently. So in the past, you had an actual supermarket across the street from a massive drugstore. Now, there's nothing wrong with Target, and there's a CVS pharmacy in here, but this is a lot smaller than what we had before, and it remains to be seen how long this place is going to stay open. We're in the same part of town where the riots happened a couple of months ago, where an influencer wanted to give away PS5s. So this neighborhood is very volatile. And apparently $1,000 or less of stolen property is a misdemeanor in New York. And laws like that, combined with bail reform initiatives that basically mean nobody has to pay cash bail anymore, means that people who might steal could have less consequences than they could have had before. That's why there's not a lot of appetite for new stores around here. But Walgreens technically owns Duane Reade, so they do have a presence here, even though they shut down half their store. But Walgreens closing one store and downsizing another is nothing compared to what's happening to Rite Aid, because they're closing 26 stores here in New York. So this here was one of the 26 locations that Rite Aid had decided to close. This store is already closed. That happened pretty quick. I thought it would still kind of be open, but it's already gone. Now, Rite Aid has recently filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The brand has announced they're closing 154 stores nationwide, but the Wall Street Journal speculates that that number could actually reach as high as 500 stores in America. There was a Rite Aid here, but yeah, it doesn't look like it's open either. I'm pretty sure the sign on the other door said this was going to be here for at least another month, but wait, maybe it's still in here? Oh no. Nope, just a big hole in the ground. So if you look on this map, there are a couple of Walgreens a little bit south from here, but now that these 2 Rite Aids are gone, people that were stealing from them can't target them anymore. And that means it could just be a matter of time before those Walgreens drop too. So I managed to find a drugstore that's going to be pretty hard to shoplift from, and will likely remain open for a while because this Walgreens, Duane Reade, is inside the Moynihan Trail train station. There's also a ton of anti-theft measures throughout the store. Not on the Reese's, but definitely on the Lindt, and of course on the hair dryers. This stuff is pretty common at most stores in New York, and it wasn't enough to save these Rite Aids.
Rite Aid lost nearly $3 billion in the last 6 years, partly due to legal troubles over accusations of unlawful opioid prescriptions.
Look at that, legal issues related to prescription abuse. That's part of the problem Rite Aid had. But as you'll soon see, decisions Rite Aid made with their pharmacy were likely related to losses they suffered from shoplifting. Whistleblowers claim that Rite Aid pharmacies unlawfully filled prescriptions that looked super shady, and that pharmacists ignored red flags when the prescriptions were presented. They had no legitimate medical purpose. They were outside of the ordinary scope of how doctors would normally practice medicine. There were all kinds of problems. And this essentially allowed millions of controlled substances to just flow onto the streets of the country. The U.S. Justice Department has since taken over the lawsuit, and according to the whistleblowers, the pharmacy managers at Rite Aid deleted internal notes that pharmacists made to alert their colleagues that, hey, a certain doctor might be prescribing things a bit weird. They deleted those notes so that those prescriptions would keep getting filled. Apparently, this was going on from 2014 to 2019, and managers also directed their employees to be very mindful about everything they were putting in writing. If you're going to tell a pharmacist to be mindful about what they put in writing, there's definitely something incredibly shady going on, and that's because stores like Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid make their money in a manner that most of us have no idea of. So what exactly are they doing? The answer to that will surprise you. So I didn't know this, but apparently stores like Walgreens don't make most of their money from the stuff that you buy inside the store. It all comes from the pharmacy. And that means the gift bags, the bows, pencils, pens, even the overpriced ink for your HP printer. None of that stuff is here for you to buy. Well, it is here for you to buy it, but this stuff isn't here to keep the store afloat. These are just things you buy while you're waiting for your prescription, because that's the big biz. And that likely explains why most of what you see on the shelves is overpriced or is locked up behind a glass box where you got to call for an associate. Now, stuff like this might seem like a major inconvenience to shoppers, but remember, shoppers aren't here for this stuff. They're already here waiting for something else. They don't mind waiting a little longer if the thing that they want is behind the glass and it has to be unlocked. And because the pharmacy business is so profitable, that's how you boost the profits of a failing store. You fill more prescriptions, but doing that in a reckless, unsafe manner, that's why these substances spill out on the streets and hurt people. And usually critics of shoplifting are first to point out that, hey, you're paying higher prices at the store because stores build shoplifting into their business model, or because what Rite Aid did now, built into the business model, is the degradation of society through substance abuse. That's really sad. But in the case of Rite Aid, it's very likely that store managers pressured pharmacists to fill more prescriptions because they were making up the losses in other areas. Because not only is shoplifting a huge problem in New York City, but the cost for renting a store is incredibly expensive. Plus, you've got high taxes, high labor costs, but there's a very specific reason why Rite Aid pharmacies were trying to combat their losses by pumping out prescriptions. And it's also the reason stores like Walgreens and CVS didn't have to go do that. And it's probably the reason why this Walgreens' pharmacy is closed. So apparently pharmacists at a place like this CVS have been walking off the job in mass over the last couple of weeks. And the reason that's so strange is because the pharmacy part of these businesses is their lifeblood. That's why they exist. And you'd think that big companies like Walgreens and CVS, that they would be doing everything they can to keep their pharmacists happy. And notice the pharmacists at Rite Aid weren't reportedly walking off the job.
The problem is that CVS and Walgreens are in this cost-cutting mode. The problem is that cutting costs leads to pharmacies that are very unsafe.
Cost-cutting mode. That sounds awesome. When a business is in cost-cutting mode, everyone suffers. And that's not only because the stores keep doing this so they don't lose any more money. I had to get antibiotics for my kids at a pharmacy like this 2 weeks ago, and the line was absolutely insane. We waited for 45 minutes inside the store because everyone there was slammed and overworked. There's too much going on. And at many of these facilities, the staff at the pharmacy are just absolutely swamped. You can see a ton of folks just kind of wandering around the store, checking their phones, looking at the pharmacy, waiting for something to happen. And that's because when you go into a pharmacy like this, the staff behind the counter aren't all pharmacists. You've typically got one pharmacist who fills prescriptions and a whole bunch of support people that help them do their job so that they can spend more time making sure everybody gets the right, safe amounts of everything, and so that they can counsel patients who need help deciding what to do.
Pharmacists, by working for CVS and Walgreens, are putting their lives at risk. and they're putting patients' safety at risk. That's the problem, and that's what we're doing this for, is the American people.
Okay, so as we learned with Rite Aid, there's an incentive to fill as many prescriptions as possible, as fast as possible, because that's how these businesses make their money. But that's how mistakes are made, and that's how people get hurt. And worst of all, that's how shady prescriptions make their way out here onto the streets and hurt all of us. And apparently at some pharmacies in New York, the pharmacist makes over $100,000 a year. But to function correctly, they need the help of the support staff, but these big chains are having those people do other things that take them away from helping the pharmacist and keeping customers safe. And by overworking their pharmacists to a greater degree than Rite Aid, their stores are still open, but the pharmacists have had enough.
You're not going to the local CVS necessarily to buy your shampoo anymore or your razor blades. You can just go online and order an app delivered to your house.
And that kind of makes sense, right? Amazon and Walmart, their websites are always going to be way cheaper than your local Walgreens in New York City, which has higher prices because of theft and because of where it's located. Dental floss, Tylenol,
it didn't used to be like that. I don't know what's going on.
If you want to combat the high inflation and the high cost of living associated with New York City, like crazy rent, eliminating stores like this from your purchasing habits, that's going to really help. You'll save thousands of dollars a year. And Amazon doesn't have to build shoplifting into its business model. They're not going to get shoplifted into closing like this place. And here in New York, the retail theft is just getting worse and worse and worse. Pretty soon, it's going to be too expensive to shop at these places, and they're all going to look like this Walgreens behind me.
It's happening in all our neighborhoods.
How to turn this around.
What do you even say?
Stores like this can take to prevent shoplifting, and some do it better than others. So we're inside of Target right now, and Target is a great example of what to do and what not to do if you are a retail chain in New York City. Because even though this place is super nice, it's got a lot in common with the Target that just closed up on 117th Street. And the first of those is the self-checkouts right behind me. Apparently self-checkouts encourage people who might not want to pay for things to just walk out of the store. Now you are on camera, but Costco, which has the less shrink out of all of these major stores, they don't use self-checkouts, which means that you've always got to talk to a person on your way out of the store with your things. That's a big disincentive. And what's also interesting is they're not filling 100% of their shelf space. But what's really cool is Target is pretty much an everything store. So it replaces the grocery store that was here already. And even though these high-value items are locked up behind the glass cage, there's enough staff here. I see all kinds of people working around. So it's not understaffed. So if you need somebody with a key to open this up for you, it's not as big of a deal as it was at that little Dwayne Reed we saw earlier with the closed pharmacy. Why don't they lock up the OxyClean? This is like the best soap out there, man. Big ticket electronics have the alarms on them, and the $14 Pokeballs, those are locked up. Most valuable item in the store right there. Look at this. They've even got weights, air mattresses. It's almost like they're competing with Kmart, which went out of business, and Best Buy with the electronics, and Whole Foods with the groceries. And then they got the makeup and cosmetics section. This is better than your Walgreens because this part of the store is actually a CVS pharmacy. It looks like all the other CVS pharmacies here in New York right now, but by having a little bit of everything plus the pharmacy, there's a lot of reasons to come in here. And believe it or not, this pharmacy is not exactly swamped, which is a good thing. And it could be that the way to have a retail store now is to have it well-staffed and super bright and very active and alive looking. If it looks dead, people might take advantage of it. And that could be why, even though Target has recently shut down some New York stores, they're probably in a way better position to succeed than places like Rite Aid. Do you think the city can turn this around, or is retail as we know it in major cities like this completely finished? Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
God knows. Who knows? I think that is such a tough call because of just a recession. Like, when you have a recession, it's going to be unpredictable. And this one, Canada, the last one, Canada made it through. This one, we won't. So it's going to be unpredictable what's going to happen. What do you even say? That was a cute one.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm an American in exile coming to you once again live from Brazil. Well, Merry Christmas to you all once again. And I've got a nice little video for you here, folks. It's probably the best video that you're ever going to see. And I'm not just saying that. It's actually a Chevrolet ad. Literally, I think it might be 5, 6, 7 years old. I don't know the exact extent of it. But literally, folks, this is really a tearjerker. And it really gives you the inside feeling of what it is for the holidays. Excellent film. Don't miss it. All right, everybody, please click that like button. Much appreciated. Please subscribe if you don't already have a subscription. And please remember that forever and forever, may God bless America, because it is the only country we have. Talk to you later, and Merry Christmas.
Over there.
Gramps? Well, we got you a present. We hope you like it.
How is she?
Good days and bad, Laura, but the love is always there.
More bad days than good?
Some days is when she doesn't even recognize me.
I'm so sorry, Daddy.
Let's make today a good day.
Hang on, son. You need these, Tracy.
Yes, Mom.
And don't be too loud.
Get your seatbelt on. Look at you. Woo! Yeah!
Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy.
Some good lights this year, right? I wonder if it'll snow. It never seems to snow as much as it used to. Oh, shakes from Bittersweet Cafe.
I tell a tale sure to make you
Saginaw?
You were actually born in that house.
Oh,
Here's your old high school.
wish that I could wish for you.
Bill.
My first horror movie. I'm not sure Mom ever forgave you for that.
We put a whole lot of you in the back of this thing.
Yeah, that's right. Me, Chris, Jeff, Phil.
Jeff is a troublemaker.
Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine.
Gramps says this is where he first kissed you.
No.
Look so lovely.
I kissed him. He was far too shy. Bill, I need to see Bill. Oh, he can't do the dinner alone.
Sunshine almost all the time makes me high. Sunshine almost always.
Oh, my little house. It's good to be together. Watch your step. You got it?
I do.
Yeah. All right.
I have it. You've always been the clever one.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Ah, Merry Christmas. Let's go.
in.
If I had a day that I could give you, I'd give to you a day just like today.
Sorry, today's been a weird day. And A Christmas Carol with Patrick Stewart is freaking awesome. I do have that one on a blog. I have the link, or you can find it. But this is insane.
Seeing with the migration crisis over there. I mean, every day there seems to be another story. I see the southern border has had its highest single day total ever recorded of illegal migrants passing through. And in Massachusetts now, they're poised to spend close to $1 billion on emergency shelters because of migrants.
Yeah, people are angry. What we're seeing, not just in the US, but in the UK too, is such an acute need for housing, which exacerbates this entire thing. Not just for US and UK citizens, but also, like you said, for the hundreds of thousands of people crossing the borders into the country each year. And this is obviously causing resentment. It's inevitable from the local people of the towns and cities that this is happening in. Local people who work hard can't peacefully live in their own towns. Look at New York, Chicago, London. There's such a high homeless population in these places that they're turning into their own neighborhoods, tent cities. And then on the other side, you have people who have been promised a new life, a new opportunity, whether it's America or the UK or different places. They end up on the streets or being squashed into temporary housing that is costing billions and billions from the government so they can be processed. I mean, it's a horrible situation for everybody. And I think that it's time for the US and the UK and other places around the world to rethink immigration strategy and try to not be the nice guys all the time. But that's easier said than done, I guess.
Well, the rest of us are living in a cost of living crisis too, but you wouldn't know it with the money they're spending on these people. Now, just to finish up, I want to ask about the royals. Meghan Markle has made her return to acting, can you believe it? She starred as a background extra in a, I've got to say, it's a pretty bizarre Instagram advert for a coffee company, that she holds shares in. Here's the ad. See if you can spot it.
I want to give a huge shout out to our amazing Clever team here at HQ. Without them, we are nothing. Off the film and crew, lovingly packing your lattes. They've been listening to Britney on loop since 2019.
Like, so weird.
A very smart and slightly nerdy digital team making sure the website doesn't crash again like it did last year. Finally, the glue that literally holds us all together. Our incredible, resilient fulfillment team that have helped make 2020.
Like, this is so damn weird. I'm sorry, I keep pulling it up, but it's so damn weird.
Then she's working on the
Like, what the hell are you even doing?
Fist bump at the end,
I know I pulled this up, but I think...
Yeah, this is absolutely bizarre.
It's so
it
weird.
Is when it comes
It is
to
weird.
Meghan and Harry, which is cool to say. But I was actually just in Montecito. You mentioned that I'm on my honeymoon and we're driving out Pacific Coast Highway, and we stopped in Montecito, and it's just such a wonderful place that they could live a very happy, normal life, but instead they have to be very weird. But this is a company that we know Meghan Markle has been involved in since December 2020, so a few months after her and Harry left the royal family. We know that she's invested an undisclosed sum, and it's a company that has a range of lattes that come in powder form, which sounds absolutely horrible, to be honest.
But yeah, Megan's definitely on the offensive when it comes to PR lately. We saw her in this very bizarre video trying to look like the average Joe. The problem is that whenever she and Harry try and look normal, they end up looking desperately odd. And then the other place that we've seen her in the past few weeks is her and Harry's Christmas card video. They traditionally do a picture, but this one was a video.
Yeah, I would recommend
at the top of it was
It's weird.
from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Of course, they had to get that in. So yeah, she's definitely popped up lately after a quiet few months. But I don't know if it's doing her any good.
I don't think anything she does herself much good, to be perfectly honest. Cara Kennedy, thank you so much for your time. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
No, they're just so weird. Like, why would you even do that? I find them so damn. You just don't understand it, and I wish they were off my money. She's cute. She has a cute channel.
Well, that's an easy one. But it's not the bites that I worry about. It's the food. She actually got me today. Big lump? See that? I don't even know what happened, but I'm going to delete. Don't. Please don't. Don't bother. But what Karen has in aggression, Stanley makes up for it in snuggles.
Aww.
Or he's feeling out my carotid artery for Karen.
She has such a cute channel. She has, like, seriously one of the cutest channels you've ever seen on YouTube. And so we're going to go home. And on to today's blog, we finally made it through yesterday. Woohoo! On. Are you going to load? Please load. Why are you not loading? Come on, load. There you go. So happy Boxing Day. And it was such an awesome Christmas. And I've been pulling up Moose on the Loose for the past few days.
Someone
just to show
bunch of stuff here. If you look there,
this is Vancouver Island. This is Port Alberni. This is a town with under 20,000 people.
So just parked
and
off
meanwhile,
the side
you
of the
get
road here.
these kind of encounters.
If I were homeless, this is where I would move out to because it's right over. You can see the Walmart. Where is it? Right here. Just kind of get right into the woods and have some shelter, but be able to go get food when you need it. Yeah, there's one right here. Look at that. And there's some more trails that go back there because this is not really a protected spot. These are all blackberry bushes here too, which is, not a great place to be hanging out. So you've got Walmart right there. That last encampment was over there, not even 100 meters. We've got a bit of a trail up here. I bet there's stuff right here. Somebody was sleeping here too, but I'll just see here. More garbage here. There are some trails here somewhere. This looks like one actually. Here we go. This cardboard box up here. Somebody's just bringing their probably moved out of their house and their rental or condo or whatever. Yeah, there's like some metal thing there from something. The box. Just more trash. Oh, there's a shirt there. And a shirt. Just looking for tent spots. Oh yeah, there's a table there. Oh, here's a big encampment back here. Weird. Muddy. Very muddy. Not fun. Wow. There's clothes here. Huge wall somebody built. Rain jacket. Somebody obviously had a tent right there. Oh, the trail keeps going this way.
Instead of doing what the leader of the opposition says and picking fights with the municipalities, we will work with them to ensure that they are building faster. That's what our housing accelerator is all about.
There's a glove down there. This is it, folks. This is a Justin Trudeau Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
You know what?
This
These trails,
is
like
how the island looks.
I've run trails all around town here. And this town, when I moved to it, it was just like you wouldn't find garbage anywhere. Like 5-6 years ago, there was no garbage in this town. Now look at this. Like, what is that? It's crazy.
"'Tis the season to gather with friends and family, to share moments and meals with loved ones, and to give thanks for the blessings in our lives."
Yeah,
So let's love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Let's give back and extend a helping hand to those who've fallen on hard times. And let's share the warmth of the season with those who are spending the holidays alone this year.
All right. I'm just kind of... Anyway, I've got somebody who's actually living there right now. So,
yeah.
Out of respect, right? If they were out there, I would talk to them, but probably inside the tent, or they're not here right now. But out of respect, I don't want to... I would obviously ask for permission if someone was there before I'd film them, but yeah, there's more trail this way. Let's just go over here for a bit. Man, this is sad. And like somebody was out here because you can see those chopped wood. People starting fires to stay warm and stuff.
Whether you're hosting a big family gathering or celebrating with a few close friends.
It's like somebody was here. The camp was just at us over there, and somebody's built a trail here to kind of connect. They're basically connecting their camps and stuff. We've got these people kind of stick together. It's hard to tell where this goes. There's a spot over there somewhere. It's just a source of firewood, this area. Just think, the spot I came out to here. I didn't have a tip on this. I had a general tip on.
They are watching
the area
him
across the
while
way, the other side of Walmart.
he's filming.
I just
They
decided
are
to come over here
watching
'cause
him.
I thought logically, if I was
Those
homeless, this is where I would come
counts
to.
seem
Close to Walmart. You can use the
abandoned. They're
bathroom at
not.
Walmart. And you can get
They're watching him.
water and
It's so
stuff. At
creepy
least in the
watching
summertime when
this.
they got the garden section out, and then there's a river over there. Like it's you could kind of make a go of it. Would suck, but and so I just come out to this trail randomly, and there it is, like a big encampment there. Somebody's got a tent and the full, like they're obviously someone's living there right now. Something also to mention, when I was coming back to my car, the other one, I mentioned there was a guy walked past with a bag of groceries. Just as I got in the vehicle and started driving, there was a couple walking towards where I was driving out, and they also had a bag of groceries, and they looked exactly like someone who would have been living out here. And I mean that in a manner of anyone who's been van lifing, if you've been out in the bush or camping or backpacking, you've been out in the bush for a couple of days or a week, and you get your hair's all messy, and you just kind of a little rough and scraggly, haven't had a shower in a while. It's pretty kind of obvious to see what that looks like when you just get a little scraggly, and there's two people in winter jackets bringing a bag of groceries walking towards me. There's nothing out there. Like it's not a place people walk to with a bag of groceries. Obviously they were going to some other encampment there that I don't even know about. There's a walk right here. See, like there's just signs of life. There was life. It was the fact that I can just pick any spot near a grocery store that's near the woods and just start following a random trail, and I can find encampments. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, this should be a crime against citizens to be intention.
I kind of
causing
wonder how
the suffering
many
against
came up
Canadians.
from other
So we need
communities
laws that protect Canadians
because
first
Port
before the
Alberni,
government.
you
We have
can
to trump the government because that's
hide
the
out
problem.
there for.
We've got these overlords.
Whereas Victoria, they're
I
really
hate to break
cracking
it to the
down.
leader of the opposition, but a TikTok video
You
is not a
know,
plan.
How many
Langford,
times would this prime minister have to be
Nanaimo, like
re-elected on his promises
Lady
for
Smith,
housing
oh yeah,
for a new
they're
home to
cracking
actually be
down.
built?
So they're going to go over
We're another
to
part of town here.
communities and
The very
areas
first one I checked out, it's much further down.
that
But it's the same
they
sort of
shouldn't
kind
be
of like
in.
Old Ridge Trail. I think it even says there Old Ridge Trail. So I don't know if there's anyone here, but this is definitely a spot I would check out, or I would consider if I were in this situation, because it is not that far from the grocery stores. So yeah, I don't know. We can go to the left or to the right. Check this out. We've got a bit of time here before it gets dark.
So, for example, he's now given $15 billion to the renamed and recycled construction loan program. This is a program that has built less than half of its targeted promises, and the new money that he says will build homes will arrive in 2025. The new homes in 2028.
I haven't been able to find any other camps around here, but I'm sure if I keep going around town, I'll keep finding them. But I think that's where I'm going to wrap this up. It's a sad thing, and
He's so gentle with how he's reporting. I'm usually much more ruthless when I
too affordable. Something has to change.
do
I just ran into a guy here who's an
live
intensive care
streams of
nurse,
homeless
and he was telling me that the
because
addiction rate
I'm
in this
just-
town is twice what the
Yeah.
BC average is. So probably more people in this region will have
Twice
addiction
what the
problems,
BC average is.
What's interesting?
Well
he's telling me
done,
is this,
Dr.
like
Bonnie
a
and
way to
Dix.
fix this. Basically, when people come in and they need like Narcan or something like that to revive them, they need to bring them to a facility for like 6 weeks and have them get dry off of all that stuff so that it gets out of their system, and then start, give them some education and give them just like a whole program to rehabilitate. And after they get out of that and they're completely off their addiction, they'll be able to go back to society, and they actually have to choose, like, do I want to go back to that life, or like, they'll be thinking straight, where they can be like, okay, I want to choose this new life. How it works right now, government problems invest down Main and Hayes drugs. Often they're taking the free drugs, selling them, and getting cheaper ones, and they get, it perpetuates the problem, makes it worse, and it's been proven. It's just become worse and worse and worse. And you got Vancouver, where it's just off the charts. Just thinking it'll solve the problem. It just doesn't. And then their whole catch and release bail system, where basically you can be arrested for something and then you're back out in the street 2 hours later. Like, they just do everything wrong. Everything they do is wrong. It's making life worse in Canada. So, like, those people, they need a recovery program. And if those are housing encampments for people who've lost their houses because they can't afford it because of all the failed Liberal policies, whether it's the lack of building houses, we've had a record low amount of houses being built. Like, it's the same as like back in the 70s, except the population was half back then, like 20-something million, 25, 28 million versus 40 million like it is today. Or just the failed immigration policy, which I've already done the numbers on. The Trudeau Liberal government knows the numbers. They know what they're doing. They've done it for a reason. And I don't know why they're causing intentional suffering to us, but they have. So either way, whether it's eviction or it's people who just been lost their housing because they can't afford it, Canadians need to take care of Canadians. And we have a prime minister who doesn't care about Canadians. He cares more about Ukraine or giving $5.3 billion to the Philippines. We've got a serious problem. I don't know what the solution is here. I don't know if we have to suffer this out 2 more years with this narcissist before we can solve these problems, but it's going to be a rough ride here for the next 2 years. So hope you guys can stay warm, stay fed. I'll see you in the next one.
And let's find new ways to make our communities, our country, and our world a brighter place for everyone in 2024.
Yeah, moose on the loose with some optimism for your new year. Isn't that wonderful? Yay, the island. We're just like a ray of sunshine, aren't we? Oh, this one is such a creepy movie. It looks so good. Speaking of creepy.
I'm just getting it started. Welcome.
I love the self-improvement energy, I really do. But a lot of men don't care about your finances. And a lot of women make the mistake of making that their whole personality, or it being the first thing they bring up is their success in their career. And men really aren't looking for that. So it's like if a man were to go on a date with you, brag about how he's got the platinum trophies on his PlayStation for a specific game that's really difficult. I mean, unless you're a gamer, you're probably going to be like, I don't care. It's kind of the same thing. If you make good money, you guys are going 50-50, of course. It's going to give you some brownie points. A man wants a woman that is loving and caring, honest and loyal and pretty. He cares more about how you treat yourself, him, and people around you. So when us ladies look into improving ourselves, I think we need to take personality traits into account because those can be improved too. We can work on that stuff. I'm not saying you shouldn't prioritize your career if that's what makes you happy. There needs to be balance.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much feral. The hope of domestication is 0 to none. I can try domesticated. I just don't think I'll be good at it. Yeah.
I don't get any smell there.
My good sir, that is quite the most genius thing I have ever seen someone do with a murder cat in their home. You have turned it into a service animal. That is now a diabetes control kitten. Because every time you go into that fridge, he's going to pounce on top of it and slap you around a couple times just to let you know that he knows that you're in there. And if you go too deep in that fridge to where all the goodies are, he's going to expose his claws and scratch the piss out of your face, which is perfect for somebody like me who's a grazer. I want to know where you had it trained, and I'd like to invest in that situation because that could change life in America as we know it. I mean, honestly, if you were to slap me a couple times in the face when I'm in the fridge like that, it would change what I'm doing because I don't actually know that I'm there. I'm just in there crazy.
I don't really want anything for the fridge. I just want to look at it. Yeah. Yeah, that could definitely be like the weight loss plan of the new year. Speaking of which, I wish that was funny. Yeah. Okay, that was a fun one. Let's see what the next one is. Oh, I think we are.
Canadians are desperate for change, and polls are showing that if there were an election this winter, Justin Trudeau would lose in an historic landslide defeat.
Mhm.
So the only real question that remains is when will the election finally take place? Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast today. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our True North channel if you're new around here. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review if you're listening to this podcast and you enjoy the show. And head on over to our website, tnc.news, to sign up for a newsletter so you never miss a story. If you want to support our journalism, please consider hitting that donate button and becoming a True North insider. So we all know that Canadians have had enough of Justin Trudeau. After 9 long years of woke virtue signaling, endless embarrassing scandals, ruinous economic policies, Canadians are telling us they want change. Poll after poll after poll show us that the overwhelming majority of Canadians want Trudeau to go. And like I said, if there was an election held today, Trudeau's main opponent, opposition leader Pierre Poilievre, would win a sweeping historical landslide in an election. But the only question is there going to be an election anytime soon? We know that there is a minority government situation, so the government could fall at any time, but it could also remain intact for another almost 2 years. So to help us gain some insight on this topic, I'm joined by my guest today, Hamish Marshall. You remember Hamish. He's contributed to True North in the past. He was our in-house pollster during the 2021 election. He's also a partner over at One Persuades, which is a government relations and strategy firm based in Ontario. Hamish is well known in conservative circles. He ran the national campaign for the Conservative Party in 2019. 2017, he ran Andrew Scheer's winning leadership campaign. And previously, prior to that, he worked for Stephen Harper and was his pollster during the successful 2008 federal election. So, Hamish, welcome to the program.
Great to be here, Candace.
Okay, so basically in this situation, the balance of power is held by the NDP. The NDP is the one that gets to decide whether or not we have an election, whether they're going to continue to prop up the Trudeau Liberals. So let's start with the NDP. Do you think that they are ready for an election, and how much longer do you think they're going to prop up the Trudeau government?
I don't think they're ready for an election right now. Their fundraising hasn't been that great, which is always a good indicator of how ready they are. Elections cost an awful lot of money. I mean, the spending limit will be a little over $30 million whenever the election happens, and the NDP don't have anything like that amount of money or have really the capacity to get there in the short term. But more to the point, they're also not doing particularly well in the polls. They're not doing particularly badly either. But in order for them, right now things are going okay for them. They're more or less maintaining where they've been in the polls, and they like being in the catbird seat and making the Liberals jump up and down. One of the things, of course, is the Liberal government is kind of out of ideas, and as a result, the NDP is actually probably have more influence today than they did, say, a year ago, or back when the deal was first signed in 2022, because with the Liberals running out of ideas, the NDP can now just sort of suggest ideas, and they're more likely to be taken and implemented. So I think the NDP feels they're in a pretty good position, and they're not going to rock the boat in the short term.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I did notice some news, first of all, that the NDP is starting to hire digital organizers, regional organizers out in British Columbia. say about that what you will, but to your point, the party's broke. Why are they hiring for jobs for an election unless there's something coming? Party treasurer recently said that the NDP expects to be debt-free in 2024. So, do you think any of those are pointing to signs that maybe an election might be coming maybe later in 2024?
Well, I mean, look, there's always a possibility, but if they're trying to be debt free in 2024, that means then they have to start saving their nest egg for the next election before they take on another ton of debt for the next election, right? So that to me sounds more like they want to get clear in 2024 so that they can save a few $1 million and go into 2025. The other thing that they right now, despite the best efforts of the Conservatives, they have not been terribly tagged with the sort of association with the Liberals, right? Like this Liberal NDP deal has not really dragged their poll numbers down. Trudeau's lack of popularity and increasing lack of popularity hasn't dragged the NDP down yet. The closer they get to an election, the greater the chance of that happening, and the more chance I think they'll have of pulling the plug.
It's interesting. Some polls that you see show the Liberals quite a bit ahead of the NDP. Others, I've seen some polls that show them neck and neck, and even some showing that Jagmeet Singh could become the leader of an opposition. You never know what could happen in an election, but given Trudeau's negatives and given Canadians' fatigue with Justin Trudeau, it's possible that he could get wiped out. Let's talk about Trudeau a little bit. He's made it clear that he intends to stay on as leader and to fight, but so many of these polls are saying that even among Liberal voters, they don't like Trudeau, and if there were a new leader, not Trudeau, that they would be more likely to show up and vote. So what do you think is the future for our Prime Minister?
Well, I think he's sticking around. I think he believes he's got a mission to save Canada from Pierre Poilievre. He's a good campaigner, give him full credit. He's good at campaigning. But he fundamentally, his view of the country is that a candidate like Pierre Poilievre can't possibly win a majority government. And therefore, if he sticks around and runs a good campaign, he'll be able to beat him. But I think the polls are increasingly showing that's not true. And the really big thing that matters more than the ballot question of who you're voting for is those personal numbers. And what we've seen is over the last few months, Pierre Poilievre's numbers have just kept going up and up, and Justin Trudeau's numbers have kept going down and down. And that's a real problem for the Prime Minister.
So as far as the Liberals go, do you think that the Liberals would be better off with Justin Trudeau, given Canadians' tired view of him? Or do they be better off starting fresh? I mean, there are some other names being bounced around, like Mark Carney, who was a former governor of Bank of Canada, and perhaps Chrystia Freeland, who's a deputy prime minister. Did you think either of those names would give the Liberals more hope or give them a boost in the polls?
Well, look, I think change is always there's always a risk of change, right? I think the desire for change is so great in Canada right now that a new leader would be interesting to Canadians. There'd be a lot of focus in that leadership race, and whether we ended up with either the people you mentioned or Melanie Joly or Champagne or somebody else, that would be a way the Liberals trying to change the channel. And I think at least for a few months, it probably would quite successfully change the channel because the Liberal Party would be electing a prime minister, and that would drive everyone's interest in politics. And the focus would be on that leadership race. Whether that new prime minister would be able to persuade Canadians after that they're fundamentally different from the Trudeau government that they probably were deeply connected with is another story entirely. But I think it would, in the short term, it would work. But there's really no mechanism for it. Trudeau himself, I don't think, is going anywhere. And liberal caucus isn't going to throw him out. We're not going to see a revolt in the same way that took out Aaron O'Toole in the Liberal caucus. The Liberal caucus is overwhelmingly made up of people who were elected after Trudeau became leader, whose entire experience in politics is Trudeau as leader, and many of whom don't have sort of deep institutional roots in the Liberal Party and activism that predates him as leader. I went and looked at it the other day. Of the 155 Liberal MPs there are right now, there's only 19 that were elected before Trudeau was leader, and Trudeau was one of those. So it's a very, very small percentage of them. Those are the sort of people, those experienced people would have probably the nucleus for any kind of revolt against them, but it's a very small number, and many of them are actually diehard loyalists of Trudeau, people like Dominic LeBlanc. So I think the chances of anything coming out of the Liberal caucus and getting rid of Trudeau is very, very low. These are people whose political career exists entirely in the Trudeau universe, and it's difficult for them to imagine what life would be like with a different leader.
Well, it totally makes sense. I mean, Trudeau has completely remade the Liberal Party in his image. I mean, it used to be sort of a centralist, rather fiscally conservative party. Trudeau took over. First of all, he kicked out anyone who wasn't militantly pro-abortion out of the party, and then he moved the party far to the left. In some ways, even more to the left than the NDP. And like you said, his success is all that these people know, because as we remember, Hamish, in 2011, the Liberals were decimated. The party was in shambles, and it was barely even there. It was a shadow of its former self. Trudeau brought it back. So when you look at some of these polls, you're actually kind of seeing the Liberals just return to pre-Trudeau levels. I want to just ask you quickly about that, because we saw a little bit of caucus dissent. We don't often see this in Canadian politics, but a few MPs spoke out against the Trudeau government's decision to call for a ceasefire against Hamas and Israel. You saw a couple of MPs saying that they disagreed with that on social media. Do you think there's anything deeper to that? Do you think that'll get anywhere?
No, and my understanding is that was a very deliberate tactic, that they called for a ceasefire in order to deal with the pressure they're getting internally from constituencies with local Muslim populations. And then they went to the MPs that represent areas of potential Jewish populations and say what you need to say. We're going to do this. If you go and disagree with it, that's fine. And it was very much a deliberate way. It was their way of squaring the circle. So I don't think I think it's emblematic of nothing more than issues management.
Well, it sounds like very traditional, liberal, transactional vote banking politics. Let's tack back and talk about Pierre Poilievre. You mentioned that Trudeau believes that it's impossible for a conservative government led by someone like Pierre Poilievre to win a majority government. What do you think is the path for victory for Conservatives? Do you think that it is possible for Pierre Poilievre to win a majority government?
Yeah, no question. There's absolutely no question that the Conservatives can win the next election. The number of seats that are necessary isn't, it's really only winning 50 more seats effectively, and the numbers in Ontario are such that the Conservatives should be on track for that for across the country. Basically the Conservatives just have to do better in the suburbs, and the desire for change in the suburbs is very, very high. Pierre Poilievre's message has been resonating. The affordability, the incredible thing about the affordability issue is, as much as people sort of say, well, maybe inflation will go down or things will change or whatever it is, the affordability is bigger today as an issue than it was a year ago or 2 years ago when Pierre Poilievre was really first sounding, I guess 2.5 years ago, he was still sounding the alarm, and even bigger than it was when he was running for leader. It's a bigger, stronger issue. And it's dominating things. And the fact of the matter is that the government has done nothing that has given them any credit on this issue. People are not feeling that. People keep feeling things are getting worse, not better. And the people holding the bag are the federal government.
Well, to Pierre Poilievre's credit, he's been sounding the alarm about inflation for a very long time. Before it was really, an issue that was affected Canadians every day at the grocery store and the gas pumps and everything like that. Like, he's one of the most knowledgeable people that I've spoken to, and I've had him on the show to explain it when it comes to these topics. So he knows his file, and he's really carved out a niche for himself. I'm wondering if you were advising Pierre Poilievre, you have the legacy media say that his tone is nasty and that he's unelectable and that Canadians won't like his combative nature. We've seen him push back against some reporters sometimes and not necessarily take the most, friendly relationship with the legacy media. Do you think that's going to hurt him if you were advising him? What would you tell him with regards to media relations?
No, I don't think it's hurting him at all. I think that he's realized that the vast majority of Canadians don't really get their news from their legacy media in the way that they would have 10 or 15 years ago. People might watch a little bit of the news, see the odd article in the newspaper, see a whole bunch of different things or clips online. Pierre Poilievre is the first politician in Canada to really, truly understand how to deliver messages built for social media.
After this, I'm going to bed.
On videos on Instagram or
I'm just getting so tired and sleepy, and
I'll
discuss it more later.
For most of his videos than
we'll see how tomorrow goes.
Newscasts.
I love meetings.
He's already really gone around them and doesn't need them in the traditional sense. And frankly, things like the Liberal Bill C-18, killing the sharing of news links on
Yeah,
Facebook,
C-18, fuck
has
that.
actually helped someone like Pierre, because his videos aren't getting blocked on social media, but news stories about him from CTV or CBC or whatever are getting blocked. And it's only accelerating the decline of the traditional media.
Well, isn't that interesting? I'm sure that the legacy media aren't happy with Trudeau about that, although I'm sure they're happy about all the money that they are getting from the Liberal government. Okay, final question for you, Hamish. Yes or no, will we have an election in 2024, or will Canadians have to wait until 2025 to get a new government?
Oh, God, please no.
Well, you will be disappointing many with that answer, but we appreciate your insight and your honesty and your analysis. So, Hamish
I
Marshall,
want
thank
an
you so much for
election
joining
this
us.
year.
And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Candice Malcolm. and
This is wrong. No. No, I want an election in, next year, January. I don't want to wait a whole other year. Oh my God, this is so mean. I don't even know if, I'm getting so tired. This was actually funny. Kevin Sorbo, Hercules. I made a snowman. A feminist passed by me and asked why I didn't make a snow woman. So I made a snow woman. My feminist neighbor complained about the snow and the voluptuous chest. I would not complain. I would be like, you are the best neighbor ever. Speaking of, yeah, this was my old job. That was napkins last year. And also this was my glamorous work office. So all these white things are like bar rags, and all of these bags probably weighed as much as me, but I still hauled them. Yeah, it was good times. And this is awful. We should not even be discussing this.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity of contributing.
I think I'm going to pull that one up. And later, tomorrow. And I'm just going to end this one off right now because this is like a 2-hour hearing, and it is a very important issue. I do not think that medical assisted suicide should be allowed to people who are mentally incapacitated, or people who are poor, or veterans, or any other marginalized group our government's trying to inflict this on. I am all for pro-choice, and it's your body, it's your life, whatever you want, but this is such dangerous legislation because it's going to lead people who we have traditionally tried to protect because they cannot always make decisions for themselves. All of a sudden they're, well, if it's too expensive, if it's too hard, you can get made. And this is wrong. I want to get into this one tomorrow. Happy Boxing Day. It's Cryptoria. Thank you so much for joining me and loving me and made my Christmas so much more wonderful. That's for everyone on Twitch and X, and YouTube. I love you, but you guys are kind of frustrating. Thank you for a wonderful stream. You guys have a good sleep.